So, over the course of Power, we've seen Tariq grow from a young boy to a man, but it's never been a plain sailing smooth ride for Tariq, and the blame could be pointed in a lot of directions, from Ghost, Kanan, Tasha, and to Tariq himself, because he doesn't make things easy for himself either. It's also involved a lot of murders, lies, manipulation, innocent parties being killed along the way, and even at one point Tariq ending up behind bars for a double homicide, which left him fighting not just for his life, but for Yasmin's future as well. And this was one of the game-changing moments for Tariq in Season 2, his responsibility and purpose. So in this video, we're gonna dissect Tariq St. Patrick's game-changing moments, and how he had to use everything he learned from his previous mentors, and how he had to quickly adapt and switch focus from one issue to another, how he managed to wriggle his way through his issues, but also how he dropped the ball when it came to Kane, and how he's got so much more to learn. Now, over the course of Power and Season 1 of Ghost, we saw Tariq making these own grown man decisions, but without thinking about the consequences. But in the past, he's always had someone to lean on in case something went wrong, whether it be the backing of Ghost, Tommy, Tasha, or Kanan. Someone was always there for him. For example, when Raina was killed by Ray Ray, Tariq made the grown man's decision to go and kill his sister's killer, but he never thought about the consequences of using Tasha's gun. It was then Tommy and Ghost who came to clean up the mess. But there was more. Angela had to step in and delete the files of Tasha's gun to save Tariq, and they eventually used the same gun to frame Kanan, something Tariq had to make the big decision on. Does he choose his mother Tasha, or does he choose his best friend Kanan? Now, another example was how he thought he'd be clever and extort money from Ghost using Vincent to stage a fake kidnapping, although he soon found out it wasn't fake, and he put Ghost and Tommy in a difficult situation because they had their own problems with Jason Michich, but they still managed to get together and save Tariq. Now, fast forward to Power Book 2 Ghost, Season 1. Tariq was now all on his own because everybody was either dead or gone, but Tasha was still there for Tariq to lean on because she was only on the other side of the phone. She was the one who gave him the location to one of Tommy and Ghost's old dead drops. She was also there for him when he didn't know whether or not to trust Effie.
Well, after I found out your father was cheating on me, on all of us, I did the next best thing. I got him to trust me.
But it was more so in Season 2 where we really started to see Tariq forced to become his own man and his responsibility change, and it was a result of him sending Tasha to WITSEC. He now not only had to balance his drug dealing life with the Tejadas, but he also had to navigate through his studies, as well as fighting a double homicide charge. But most importantly, he had the burden of looking after Yasmin, and all of this made it an impossible task in trying to pursue a normal life with Lauren, because he was always distracted, and it was all of these combined elements which made him take his eyes off Kane. And in that split moment, Kane's manipulation of Brayden almost cost him. Now, as he started to gain this extra responsibility, his purpose in life also started to change, but we can take it back one step further to Season 1. So where he initially started selling drugs for fun at Chode, his hobby became something which he solely had to rely on, because after Tasha got arrested, he had to be the man of the house and pay for Davis McLean. And now, how is an 18-year-old gonna pay $500k up front? So ironically, the game was his only choice, and it wasn't just a hobby anymore. He had a purpose, and that purpose was to save Tasha. Now in Season 2, it was much of the same, but this time he had to think of Yasmin, and he needed to show legit income and a place of residence, which he was able to do thanks to putting Brayden as a CEO of Course Correct. So the increased responsibility and purpose goes hand in hand, and as they say, with great power comes great responsibility, and he had plenty of it in Season 2. Now, in Season 1 of Ghost, he could cleverly navigate the world he lived in through being perceived as innocent, because everybody thought Ghost and Tasha were the monsters of their family, when in fact, Tariq was the same, if not becoming worse. And I say becoming worse because let's not forget what Tasha asked Tariq to do, kill both Epiphany, and he was also sent to kill Tamika, and who knows what would have happened if Davis McLean didn't walk through the door. But Tamika was someone he used his innocence on, and she believed him, so we saw him cleverly outmaneuver Cooper Saxe in court with the clever choice of his words. But as we entered Season 2, his innocence phase was slowly beginning to evaporate.
Tariq, do you remember the last time you came to me for help? What you told me?
And my father was a monster.
And you weren't. Is that still true? Was it even true then?
But regardless of Tamika now knowing Tariq was a monster, she believed they could save him. But I disagree. I think Tariq is too far gone. And even though he wants to come out of the game and go legit, which he does, something will always pull him back in, just like it did with Ghost. So I think Tariq began to realize he couldn't rely on his innocence anymore, and he had to take a different approach, especially when it came to someone like Monet. And Tariq's knowledge and ability to navigate through his issues really shows he is more like his father than he thinks. For example, the way he was able to navigate this situation when it seemed like Monet had every single door locked, Tariq still found an exit by using his knowledge he had over her kids, putting this back on Monet with how she's never been in control. He also used principles of Law 7 from the 48 Laws of Power when he had his back against the wall with the way he used others to do the work for him. And he did this when he was on bail with his ankle monitor that tracked every single one of his movements, so he was only allowed to be on campus, his lawyers, or his place of residence, which in this case was Lauren's brother's apartment. Now this is where Tariq showed how calculated and smart he is, with the positions that he had people play in his organization. He knows Monet turned down Braden, but he knew Monet would never turn down working with someone like Effie, because Tariq and Effie are too much alike, and she definitely was the right choice. Now he was also able to use the information about Mecca being a snitch to his advantage, and had his way out of the game mapped out if it wasn't for Monet killing Mecca, although I highly doubt Mecca had any plans to give the 2 million to Tariq he was asking for. But regardless, Tariq was able to make someone who looked like he had everybody under control panic in the drop of a dime. And where Mecca sat in a position of power when Tariq walked into the room, it was actually Tariq who held all the power by the time he left. Now, let's not give Tariq too much credit. He needed the help of a lot of people around him, including Kanan, who made him see a lot of sense, from having to let go of Tasha to opening his eyes when he was in jail, because Tariq was looking at the whole chessboard all wrong.
You're so focused on going to war with Kane that you don't see the whole board. That ain't your only op. Who else helped him pull this off?
And this made Tariq realize a lot of things, especially when it came to Braden being manipulated. But he also realized he needed the help of both Effie and Braden. And for the first time, we saw him open up to Braden when he told him what went down with both Jabari and Bars. They also came together with Tariq being the mastermind behind the heist. So even though Tariq showed a lot of calculated moves and tactical awareness, he definitely needed his fair share of help. So what's next for him in season 3? Now, Tariq's journey is definitely one where when he resolves one issue, it creates another, or has a knock-on effect where he'll still be at the center of things again. And season 3 will be no different. He's still got a vast number of enemies, he's still stuck working with the Tejadas, and now you can add the issue of Blanca Rodriguez. Although one thing he's not got is the burden of looking after Yasmin, and this was one of Tariq's biggest weaknesses in season 2. But just like I mentioned, with how he gets rid of one issue, another one arises, and one of Tariq's biggest issues is mixing business with pleasure. It's never a good idea, and he's done both with Diana and Effie. And let's not forget about the dark secret Effie's holding of her killing Lauren, and this will definitely complicate their relationship as we move forward in season 3. So there is a lot more development and learning for Tariq to do, but those are some of the game-changing moments for Tariq St. Patrick, with how his responsibility and purpose has completely shifted, how he's lost his innocence phase, which forced him to make the man's move. But even though he was able to make calculated moves, he still needed the help of those around him, past and present. So drop all your thoughts down below on Tariq's journey going into season 3, and of course if you're new to the channel and you haven't done so already, then remember to smash the subscribe button if you want to see everything Power Book 2 Ghost and Power Universe related. But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.